Let's talk about fear today. When I was younger, my biggest fear was messing up in front of people. And I remember when my husband and I were trekking in Thailand, we had to actually, there was a river that was in the way of us getting to a tribal hill tribe camp. And we had to go, there was a river that the guide didn't think would be there. So we had to go the long way around, and it was dark, and we were having to light huge fronds of grass on fire just to be able to see. And there were a couple log crossings over, not a river, like just over sort of muddy flats. And I could not cross a log without falling off. And my biggest fear wasn't that I was going to hurt myself, it was that people would see me fall off and be clumsy. So that time, I decided I am going to look at the end of the log and with full certainty know that I'm going to make it. I had fallen off. There were a couple logs before I got to the last one, and I was wet and tired, and I just said, I'm going to not fall in this time. And I just focused on the end of the log and didn't think about anybody watching me. And sure enough, I made it to the end of the log and didn't have trouble with narrow crossings and, heights and things, balancing acts, that kind of thing. So fear was disconnecting me from my knowing. It is such a block from manifestation, or a block to manifestation, and a block to our connection with Creator, universe, our higher self. So fear can be so debilitating, but you can turn it on its head and not look at it as a threat. Look at it as, what is the universe trying to teach me here? In what ways, as I deal with this instead of running away from it, in what ways will my soul grow? Will I become closer to my purpose here on earth? Because in the divine plan, it's usually the things that you had to deal with, that you carry fear about, those are the exact things that you have come here to overcome. And once you have, you are more connected with your higher self, the Creator, the universe, with Source. I'd like to share a story from my book, and it's from Joe Croce. And when I visited him, there was a big protest going on not far from his home in southern Alberta. So what was happening was the government was rerouting a river, the Oldman Dam, to actually to build a dam. Sorry. So they were diverting the river to build the Oldman River Dam. And there were some lone fighters, they were called warriors, who had set up a camp, and they were protesting because the rerouting of the river was going to cause the burial grounds to be disrupted and a few other things that the lone fighters were protesting against. So this happened in, actually a long time ago, in 1990. And it was Joe Croce. So I'll just drop into the scene. Joe Croce, 81, smokes cigarettes while he and his wife, Josephine, debate the consequences of visiting the Pagan Lone Fighters Society camp. The group is making a well-publicized effort to divert the Oldman River with an earth mover to restore it to its original flow and render useless a $355 million dam 10 miles upstream from the Pagan community. The lone fighters say the project will cause environmental damage and flood sacred burial grounds. And so Joe says, it's bad. I don't want to be involved with violence. I told the lone fighters I would come if they would take away all their guns, but they haven't. They didn't listen to the chief, and they won't listen to me. But the Crowshoes are worried about the camp because their daughter is actually joining the lone fighters in their protest. So that afternoon, it was a heavy afternoon as they sat and wanted to go and check on their daughter, but didn't want to have anything to do with the lone fighters. But finally, Josephine said something to Joe in Blackfoot, and they stood up, and we were in the car and down to the camp in a matter of about 10 minutes. So when we got there, um, Joe got up to speak to the lone fighters. And actually, the head of the lone fighters was actually hiding across the river because he had shot over the heads of some RCMP and then now was running and hiding. So the tension was up and it was getting pretty scary. So in the circle, actually, the RCMP left, and Milton, born with a tooth, the leader, came out of his hiding place, and Joe gave a speech. He said, "Go the peaceful way, work from your treaties, then you can bring about what you want." So he implored them to be a little more passive and not use violence. Days later, the camp was broken up, the leader was arrested in Calgary, and their diversion tactics were foiled by the Alberta government. So back at home after that visit, Joe reflected on the day's events. He mentioned that the Great Spirit gives him strength to stand up for nonviolence, and he isn't offended if the pacifists' approach is considered wishy-washy. Both he and Josephine have taken a passive stance in their opposition to the dam, believing the situation is in the hands of the Creator and the structure will come crashing down of its own accord if it's not supposed to be there. So, why I'm telling you this story is fear is just energy, and you can flip it on its head and trust instead that when you deal with this fear, you are in the hands of the Creator and you will be just fine. And here's what Joe said to me that I took away and live by to this day. When the Crowshoes talk about divine forces, it's obvious they have total faith in the Creator. They teach others about the Great Spirit's willingness to lead everyone if they live according to the 4 words their elders speak of: love, unity, sharing, and peace. Both Joe and Josephine are simple, traditional, compassionate people. Joe paints buffalo skulls with sacred red paint, and Josephine speaks of sweetgrass, the pipe, and the Sundance. And time stops as you sense the hand of an unseen benefactor who set you at their kitchen table to learn something. Back to that all-important point, fear has no hold over you at all. And these are only opportunities for you to grow. So it's actually the Creator doing you a favor by exposing you to these challenges, but you just look at them as, yes, what am I supposed to learn here now? So when you embrace fear and have that attitude, it completely loses its grip on you. It's a fact, and it's that simple. So here are 3 things that you can do to walk into your fear and to face it. Pause, as I said before, and observe it. It's just energy, and don't let your mind, your monkey mind, go off giving you all kinds of catastrophe situations. Just pause and breathe and say that simple question: what am I supposed to learn here? And instead of falling into your worry and saying, oh my goodness, if I do this, what if it goes wrong? turn that around and say, what if it goes right? What if it goes right? Yes, it's going to go right. And then affirm and surrender to the light. Like Joe and Josephine, trust the Creator, trust the universe, trust the light. If you're looking for a job, don't catastrophize. I'm not getting a job. There's just no positions anymore. Affirm the right and perfect job is coming to me now. And you've probably heard that story of somebody doing that and just over and over kind of programming the whole universe to not give them the job by worrying and saying over and over again, it's not possible to get one. And you just let go and know that you have that job. And then out of the blue, you'll get a call from a recruiter and the job will be better than the ones you'd been applying for and better pay. And there's lottery winners as well who talk about feeling, just knowing that they are going to win, and they do follow that hunch and go and, buy a ticket and play some numbers. Big winners have said that when they won, they didn't freak out and jump up and down and, scream and shout. They just said, okay, it's here now. I knew it would come. I knew it would come. It's that knowing. It's much more different than hope. Hope is not a very strong emotion. You hope it comes. You hope it comes. No, you know it's going to come. It's already here. You have nothing to do but assume with your emotion and your thoughts that you already have it. And I'm going to leave you with these words. I wrote them down. The universe responds to certainty. If you truly know something is meant for you, then you can bend reality to bring it from the spirit world into this physical world. The universe will bend to meet your frequency of certainty. Thanks for listening today. Kinan Skomitin. Hi. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, Tanse. Hello. If you're enjoying these videos that have to do with Eagle Heart manifestation, I would love it if you would subscribe and like them so that I can do even more on my podcasts.